Garrosh versus Rexar.
And once again, guys, thank you so much for all the support so far, for everyone following and subscribing in the chat. That's been really, really awesome. We do appreciate it. And we are going to see the Hunter, it looks like, coming out here for Ek0p. So that does mean that he did play Druid in round 2. So that will be the Druid losing to the Warrior, unfortunately. And he's going to have to go for the all kill with this Hunter deck. He's going to have to beat the Warrior deck, the Druid deck, and the Warlock deck with just his Hunter.
Right.
So
if there's a deck that can do it, certainly Hunter is one of them, though.
Yeah.
Again, one of the most dominant decks that's been in Hearthstone leading up to this point. So I'm liking his opening hand here. He's got a pretty solid development if he's able to draw a Houndmaster or perhaps some Savannah Highmanes, which is one of the most critical cards in this matchup. I think he's going to be able to put together a very good position to be able to win this match.
Yeah. Should be pretty interesting. I mean, having the Armorsmith, the Acolyte, as well as the Shield Block early in your hand seems quite nice as well. Here for Trump, I mean, a lot of card draw there available for him.
And Trump being known again for his careful style, saving that coin.
Yeah.
He likes to save cards as long as he can.
Yeah. And I mean, the turn 2 cross list here, looking like some pretty good development. He can set himself up for the turn 3 Animal Companion. Now Trump here, gonna go with the Fiery War Axe, and why not? That's great value there. And that's a mere value town. Who's not gonna go for that? So we do see the Animal Companion coming out now, and it is gonna be Misha. Which isn't a bad situation here because there is no Whirlwind, so there's no like Whirlwind plus Fiery War Axe. There's no Taskmaster plus Fiery War Axe or anything like that. So he is actually just going to go for the charge.
Yeah, this turn's actually a show of KitKat's incredible deck building. He put Kor'kron Elite in here literally as a good answer to Animal Companion because it's been so abundant. And without something like Animal Companion, he actually would have had to play this turn extremely inefficiently to make a difference. And Snake Trap coming into the hand here.
Yeah. Snake Trap Buzzard, is quite the combo.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting turn. It looks like he's trying to convey that he doesn't have Snake Trap. He can just go to the heel count instead. I'm really surprised he doesn't use Buzzard and the Snake Trap here because his opponent's got a Fiery War Axe to attack it with.
I'm very surprised by that. Plus, I mean, the longer you go on, the more chances there are for removal to be drawn, and and ways to deal with that. So
that's an extremely interesting.
That's
turn.
very surprising. I wonder what the thought process was there. And I mean, Armorsmith, Armor Up, going to be used. Trump does pass on. We do see the Unleash drawn now as well. And is he going to decide to go for it now? It looking like he's just thinking about just going for the steady shot. And
I guess if he doesn't do it last turn, I would be very surprised if he did it this turn. And again, I'm really surprised by this play. I'm curious what justification he's giving it is.
Yeah, me too. I mean, do you think he's just trying to set up for some sort of huge combo later in the game? And maybe looking for, does he have Hyenas in his deck? He does. So maybe he's looking for that Hyena and trying to get the Hyena plus the Snake Trap, try to combo it like that.
You know what I bet it is I bet he was looking to not just draw 3 cards in this Buzzard, but he wants to draw a lot more than 3 cards with it. So in this spot, you potentially are seeing a lot of card draws happen because he's able to use this Iron Beak Owl as well. Where Iron Beak Owl's sort of dead in his hand otherwise, he's actually turning it into a card. And he's done it at a relatively low sacrifice because the only thing he's foregone is the ability to develop a Savannah Highmane on 6. So actually, in hindsight, I really like this play.
Now, as far as using the Owl on the Armorsmith, I mean, are you more worried about the Armorsmith than you are the Acolyte? We talked about card draw last time. Do you think that is the correct move there? Using it on the Armorsmith as opposed to saving for something later? Do you have to worry about that at all?
I think at this point he's concerned with
Cleave.
Well, Cleave's a huge turn here, but touching again on your point with the Owl, I think he's more concerned with going card for card with his opponent and allowing the card draw from Starving Buzzard to make such an impact. Unfortunately, he's been very disrupted this turn. And actually, the Owl kind of coming back to bite him, but it's still in hindsight. I like his play a lot. Snake Trap had a potential to draw a few more cards with that Buzzard, which is what he was really going for. Again, because Highmane is such an important component against this deck.
Yeah, and I mean, going for the tracking on turn 7 there would have been nice if he could have pulled out a Highmane.
That's the card he's looking for.
Yeah, but he's going to get the Liliorarch. He does have the Timberwolf as well as the Stone Tusk Boar. So I mean, I believe he still has the Unleash in his Hound, and with that plus the Timberwolf, you can get some pretty fearsome hounds. But
at this point, his hand is set up to where
the Snake Trap as well. I mean, it's going to get pretty scary.
Right. If he doesn't end up drawing a Savannah Highmane here, he's going to be looking to set up a huge turn with Unleash the Hounds and Timberwolf and try to overrun his opponent and put him in a position where he doesn't really have any strong options in sort of how to climb out of the game. This Shield Slam, though, an extremely critical draw for countering that plan of being able to have a Highmane.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the Shield Slam, looks like he's just going to go with the Shield Slam Fiery War Axe. And that is going to trigger the Snake Trap. So
that's sort of an important thing to think about. When that trap wasn't a freezing trap or an explosive trap when he attacked his opponent's face, what is Trump thinking that this trap was coming into this turn? Was he thinking that it was Snake Trap?
I mean, I'm guessing he knew it was a Snake Trap, but he just figured he had to deal with it at some point. He did just get the +1 damage buff off the board, so maybe he's just feeling like there's no better time. I mean, at some point you're gonna have to deal with it, right?
I'm curious what you think it is where I'm coming from. I'm like,
yeah.
Wait a minute, this isn't a freezing trap, and it isn't an explosive trap, and it isn't a misdirection. Like, what could this be?
Yeah.
It's gotta be like Snipe or Snake Trap.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen Snipe get to play, by the way, as like a counter to Gadget's Auctioneer.
Okay.
You play it in the turn they want to conceal it, and you pull it out.
Oh wow, so he's gonna go with the Unleash and the Timberwolf. Can get the Stone Tusk Boar out there as well. This is gonna be a pretty huge turn, man. That's a lot of damage on the board.
I like this play a lot because he's fallen into a position where it's pretty unlikely that he's able to recover this if he doesn't start going for a lot of damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if he put every single minion into his opponent's face here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, definitely would make sense. Obviously, a Whirlwind would be the last thing you'd want to see at this point. But,
sure.
But still, I mean, that is a lot of face damage. He's obviously considering trading now. He still has those 3 minions left. And I think, so he's going to trade. I mean, he does throw it on the board, and it looks like he wants to just trade that out.
I don't mind hedging against the effect of Whirlwind, but the other thing he's considering here is that he doesn't want his opponent to have an easy answer to Leroy.
Yeah.
So he wants to force him to either use a spell
or
to use this axe, and hopefully his opponent's going to have to use the axe.
For sure. I mean, definitely makes sense. So he is going to actually perhaps just leave out that 1 damage on the board.
I may have lied.
I mean, maybe we just want to leave that 1 damage. No, okay, he's going to fully trade. Okay, so a nice turn there for Ek0p. He's obviously pretty low on cards though, which is kind of the scary part here. And Whirlwind is top decked, and that Whirlwind, man, we were talking about
big
it.
draw when you have an Acolyte.
Oh, he's double Acolyte if he wants.
Right.
I mean, he could get a lot of card draw here. I mean, do you think he's thinking about the double Acolyte? I mean,
I think he's thinking about it, but I think he wants to deal with this Leroy Jenkins without taking 6 more damage.
What about I mean, do you think it's worth using the Ek0p then, just for that 1 extra damage to avoid taking that extra damage to your face? I mean, you know, your opponent is low on cards.
Right.
So do you think it's okay to take that 6 damage in this situation, or should you still Whirlwind execute that Leroy and just say, I need to get it out of there?
I think it's okay to do it, because you're going to be developing both Acolytes of Pain, so you're going to be getting 2 extra cards off of it.
Okay.
So sacrificing an Execute, which is an extremely efficient spell, versus this position, I don't think is that bad. But
even with the potential of Savannah High Mains coming up later?
Right. But that's what he's thinking about right now, is how he potentially deals with Savannah High Mains. Okay. And I think that his solution to it is going to be to draw more cards and find an answer from there, which...
Oh, wow. Another Whirlwind.
Speak of more answers and more cards.
The next Whirlwind, man, the RNG gods.
The mayor of Value Town has been granted the ultimate value.
Yeah, man. He top decks the Whirlwind, and then the Whirlwind gives him the Acolyte. He gets 4 card draw off that. Gets the double Whirlwind. Doesn't have to take any damage. Trump has got to be smiling at this point, man.
He's got an enormous lead over this game.
Insane, yeah.
He's got Alex Straza next turn. I'm very surprised he attacks with his axe, considering he has
Before
Alex Straza next turn.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to go with Rag or something then.
It sort of indicates to me that he would want to go with Ragnaros.
Yeah.
It looks like Ek0p, that's just going to do it.
Wow.
I can't blame him. Your opponent just drew 4 cards and the entire board after you went all in.
Yeah.
So, again, I think Ek0p played that turn really well. It looks a little reckless the way he did it, but the